the most terrifying ancient warriors from around the world. History isn't all kings and castles. It's blood, sweat, and the echo of war cries that sent shivers down spines. Behind every great civilization stood warriors who didn't just fight battles, they created legends. These were figures so ferocious, so powerful, that their foes would crumble at the very thought of them. This journey isn't for the faint of heart. Brace yourself as we uncover the most fearsome warriors from ancient history. Buckle up, history enthusiasts. You're about to witness true terror on the battlefield. In the land of ancient Greece, under the shadow of Mount Taygetos, boys were not raised to play. They were raised to conquer. The Spartans were the embodiment of discipline, trained from the tender age of 7 in the brutal agoge system. When a Spartan stepped onto the battlefield, he didn't fight for survival. He fought to prove his worth. Who could forget the Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BCE? It wasn't just 300 men standing against a massive Persian horde. It was a testament to what pure discipline and unmatched tactics could achieve. King Leonidas and his Spartans became immortal symbols of resistance. Their famous motto, "Come back with your shield or on it," wasn't just a saying. It was a law of life and death. Against these warriors, even the gods seemed to favor them. Picture yourself as a Persian soldier, one of tens of thousands. You look across the battlefield and see 300 Spartans, unwavering, ready to die. Would you run or would you stand? Facing a Spartan meant facing the impossible. And often, the impossible won. Let's shift to feudal Japan, where the sharp glint of a katana often preceded the fall of an enemy. The samurai were not just warriors, they were artisans of warfare. They lived and breathed Bushido, the way of the warrior, a philosophy that equated dishonor with death. Imagine battling someone for whom death was not a punishment, but a release. The samurai didn't just fight, they sought perfection in every strike. Their katana, a weapon so fine that it was said to be an extension of their soul, was wielded with devastating precision. And yet, what truly made the samurai terrifying was their inner resolve. To refuse surrender or defeat and instead commit seppuku, a ritual suicide, was the ultimate form of loyalty and honor. Their enemies knew this. A samurai couldn't be broken because he had already conquered his fear of death. Would you dare stand against such unrelenting determination? Now, brace yourself for a freezing wind and the deafening clash of axes. We head north to Viking territories, where berserkers roamed like thunderous storms. These were warriors who truly seemed possessed by wild beasts, by gods, or perhaps by madness itself. Their name survives today, synonymous with uncontrollable rage. Berserkers were warriors who stepped onto the battlefield not with hesitation, but with an animalistic charge that defied logic. Clothed in animal pelts, wolves and bears, they often fought in a trance-like state known as berserker gang. It was said they felt no pain, no fear, and no humanity when in this state. Imagine the terror of witnessing one of these men charging at you, swords and axes in hand, howling with bloodlust, ignoring any wounds you inflicted. The sight alone was enough to make an opponent drop their weapon and flee. Legends even whispered that they were impossible to kill in the midst of their frenzy. What would you do when faced with an unstoppable force, one that seemed more demon than mortal? Deep in the jungle of Mesoamerica comes the unsettling roar of a jaguar, not from the animal, but from a man cloaked in its skin. The Aztec Jaguar Warriors were not just fighters, they were hunters, revered and feared in equal measure. Every detail of their being was designed to strike terror. Covered in the pelts of jaguars, their physical presence alone was unnerving. They viewed themselves not merely as warriors, but as incarnations of the jungle's fiercest predator. The purpose of their battles? Not just to kill, but to capture. Aztec warfare wasn't merely a clash of armies, it was a hunt for captives, destined for grueling rituals of sacrifice. Armed with macuahuitl, Weapons studded with sharp obsidian blades, the Jaguar Warriors carved their place in history with both skill and savagery. You didn't just face death on the battlefield against these fighters, you faced being delivered alive into the claws of ritual terror. Would you dare cross their path? Not all terror stems from brute force. Let's travel across the Pacific to New Zealand, where the Maori warriors redefined the art of psychological warfare. Long before their weapons pierced the air, their haka struck at the hearts of their enemies. You stand across a battlefield. A sea of fierce Maori warriors begins the haka. Guttural chants, bulging eyes, synchronized stomps. The ground shakes, your blood chills. You haven't even fought yet, and already you question if victory is possible. This was the power of the Maori. Armed with weapons like the taiaha, a sharp wooden staff, the Maori weren't just about intimidation. Their connection to their ancestors and land gave them a spiritual edge. To defeat them wasn't just to face their combined physical and psychological strength. It was to go up against warriors who believed they had divine purpose. Enter the shadowy ranks of the Immortals, the Persian Empire's elite fighting force. Their name conjures an air of mystique, but the truth behind their title was enough to paralyze armies in fear. The Immortals were always 10,000 strong. If one soldier fell, another immediately took his place, ensuring the ranks never broke. To their enemies, it seemed as though they couldn't die, an unending tide of armored, weaponized warriors. Clad in ornate armor and equipped with spears and bows, the Immortals were masters of versatility. Their eerie, disciplined precision made them look less like men and more like a machine of war. Can you imagine standing before an enemy who felt truly endless? Finally, we land in southern Africa, on the dusty plains of the Zulu kingdom. Under the leadership of King Shaka, these warriors transformed the art of war into a symphonic, terrifying dance. What set the Zulu warriors apart was their innovation. Shaka introduced the deadly bullhorn formation, a strategy designed to encircle and crush foes like prey trapped in a predator's jaws. Where most armies used long spears, Shaka gave his men the Aiklua, a shorter weapon optimized for close combat and rapid strikes. Pair this with their cowhide shields, and the Zulu became an unstoppable force. The loyalty of the Zulu warriors to their king and their people was absolute. Their discipline was so fierce, their strikes so coordinated, that they destroyed any sense of hope their enemies might have had. Could you find the courage to face an army that moved like a single lethal organism? From Spartans who defied the odds to Aztec Jaguars who roared on the battlefield, every one of these warriors reshaped the course of history with their sheer power, innovation, and terror. They were not just soldiers, they were forces of nature. Their legacies endure because the fear they inspired still lingers centuries later. These terrifying warriors remind us that history is blood-soaked with legends of bravery, strategy, and fierce determination. Lovers of history, these are the stories that made the world tremble. Now it's your turn. Let these tales fuel your curiosity and keep the fire of the past alive. Enjoyed this trip back in time and subscribe for more daring dives into the most strange and mysterious tales. Who knows? The next legend we uncover might just be even more chilling. Stay brave, stay curious, and keep exploring the unknown.